Hey, what's up guys? Crypto Keith here with Crypto Living YouTube channel, bringing you all the news first. So here we have a new story, an exclusive story here. I'm sure no one on YouTube has covered this yet. JP Morgan guilty of money laundering, tried to hide Swiss regulator judgment. Now there's multiple stories on this. I did check it and check the sources, and it comes from a Swiss news source first. It is a Swiss banking sector of JP Morgan that is being charged in courts for money laundering, fraud, and being deceitful. So let's look into this article a little bit more. Or some of these articles. So JP Morgan, the CEO, Jaime Dimon, is facing irony this week after calling Bitcoin a fraud, as the bank's Swiss arm is sanctioned for fraud. So reports from local media outlet Die Handelsweitung, I'm probably not saying that right, relate to how the Swiss regulatory FINMA had ruled JP Morgan was guilty of money laundering in June, and we have other FINMA cases down below in the news feed. So it's interesting. It's not just little guys they're after, but JP Morgan, Jaime Dimon, tried to cover up this story and not have it released, obviously for good reasons. A legal battle then ensued with Dimon's giant attempting to prevent the publication of FINMA's judgment. This month, however, the law ruled against it, but details of the extent of the wrongdoing remain sketchy. So with all that money and power, I'm sure you can suppress certain stories. So this one got leaked, but the details are still being suppressed. So the news is especially amusing to Bitcoin proponents who watched as Jaime Dimon's accusations that the virtual currency was a fraud sent it into temporary freefall in September. And we've talked about our opinions here on this channel. If you put all the information together, you get a clear picture of what's going on. And you know, he should be charged with a couple other things. I won't go into it, but you can follow this channel if you're interested in my perceptions in my research, because I have been doing a lot of research for this channel, and I seem to see, you know, the big picture of things by putting all that data together and information, or at least a bigger picture than just looking at one story and you know, the way it's told by one person. So commentators such as Andreas Antonopoulos were quick to jump on the gratifying reversal of fortune. The cryptocurrency expert telling the audience during a Q&A session this week that Jaime doth protest too much, methinks. And this is an article from Cointelegraph, and Andreas will share with you now what he has to say about this when he did a question and answers.
A couple of weeks ago, Jaime Dimon criticized Bitcoin. Could you encapsulate briefly what his criticism was and then how you would rebut it? Because I'm very interested in the topic.
I believe his specific criticism was, and I may paraphrase, that Bitcoin is a fraud that has no financial basis and is not backed by anything. That was the criticism by Jaime Dimon, head of JP Morgan Chase, who actually got fined $2 billion for mortgage fraud, which JP Morgan Chase paid by committing more mortgage fraud. I don't know if you've seen that news. That was particularly fascinating. And they did this all on the dollar, which is backed by, oh, right. So, you know, I think my most honest reaction is Jaime doth protest too much, methinks. And it's interesting how the head of the largest investment bank in the world finds time in his very, very busy day to speak about a nothing, an irrelevant little technology that has no impact on the world. It's almost disconcerting that he would pay so much attention. By the way, as he was saying that, JP Morgan traders were buying Bitcoin. So I will give you a prediction which I've made before. The world's banks have never faced competition from the internet. They need to learn really quickly that when the internet comes from your industry, it doesn't end well. Look at all the other industries that faced intense competition from the internet. Well, the internet is now coming for banking. And the result of that will be that banks and their executives will not only lose their industry or their power in the industry, but they will go through the 5 stages of grief: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. It starts with denial. Bitcoin can't possibly work. It will surely crash any second now. 9 years later, that's not working so well. Anger. Terrorists, drug dealers, pornographers, make it stop. That's not working, because the governments figure out you can't make it stop. Bargaining. We like blockchain, but not Bitcoin. Doesn't work so well, and so on and so forth. The internet is coming for banking, and like every industry before it, the industry heads think, we will weather this storm. After all, we've been doing this for centuries. Good luck. I hope you keep that attitude until the very end.
Okay guys, that is Andreas Antonopoulos out of Canada, where we're broadcasting out of right now. So he has a lot of the similar, same opinions as me. I'm surprised he was so outspoken. And it's a pretty good coincidence that we just did a video, I think about 2 weeks, about the 5 stages of missing out on Bitcoin grief. And we covered those exact points. We're going to put down below in the comment section a link to our video where we go in depth and show you all the different evidence of JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon, and how they are betting on Bitcoin futures and might have something to do with the recent crash in price. Jamie Dimon is also recently in the news to have been given a raise. The only person at JP Morgan to be given a raise. He's now up to $29.5 million per year. And with the banking systems, not doing as well as they used to, you got to wonder why. And when you look into what he's doing in the public eye, in the media, it's pretty obvious that he's making people a lot of money when he talks bad or good about Bitcoin. So Dimon's mouth is full of humble pie. Bits Online states, since threatening to fire any JP Morgan and Chase employee found to be trading Bitcoin, Jamie Dimon has been eating a continuous helping of humbling pie. So shortly afterwards, Bitcoin recovered and has proceeded to make fresh highs. Meanwhile, it emerged that JP Morgan and Chase was facilitating clients to take positions in a financial instrument that tracks the price of Bitcoin. They also have on their website a blockchain research section where they're building their own blockchain. And just one more little piece of information here, some statistics. So various studies since 2016 have shown that the majority of millennials feel discontented from the banking sector and do not trust major financial institutions. Well, you think it's a coincidence that millennials would rather invest in cryptocurrencies than stocks and traditional financial instruments? Maybe we're waking up. Maybe we're becoming more aware. So with their wealth, capital investments, the hypocrisy and the conceitful nature of major banks and financial service providers will only result in the diminish of the finance industry in the long term, or just, you know, an evolution of it, as we're seeing now, into more digital platforms and these new projects, you know, that are raising and having more interest than banks, at least by younger people. So it will ultimately result in the demise of the financial industry, right? False accusations and depictions of Bitcoin by Dimon and other bank executives will only hasten the mainstream adoption of Bitcoin and the migration of wealth from the traditional finance sector to decentralized cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin. And yes, we see this a lot of times when it's pretty obvious that governments are regulating, restricting, or trying to defeat Bitcoin, and it seems to survive. The prices seem to rise. What doesn't kill it seems to make it stronger. I'm Crypto Keith, and we'll see you on our next video.
Reading Fortune, I just got the news. I can be a millionaire too. Check the OP, what did he do? Gas in his bag so they go to the moon. Spent half an eighth, I got 1 million coins like the real McCoy. You know I feel that joy, cause if it goes to $1, I won't believe my luck. And now 10 on my Lambos for me and my friends.